What does it really mean for something to stand the test of time? Not just hang on, but actually grow and change over, well, generations. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty amazing story. It spans over 100 years in the hospitality world. We're celebrating 110 years of Demetz Hospitality. And our mission, really, is to explore the story of the Angelo Engel. It's this business with deep, deep historical roots. We want to see how the Demetz family kept it going, nurtured it. We've got original documents, old photos, family records. We're hoping to uncover some of the secrets, to how they made it last.
Yeah, it's more than just history, isn't it? It's almost like a case study in how you build something that endures. And what's so cool is that the sources let us see not just the business side, but the family's dedication, their commitment to this one place, to their guests over such a long time. We're looking for those maybe subtle things in the records, the values, the risks they took, how they passed the torch. It's about finding those principles in their story that maybe you could even think about for your own goals.
Okay, so let's get into it. Starting right back at the beginning, 1913. This is when Martin Demetz Senior bought the Angelo. But what's really fascinating is the Angelo wasn't new even then. It goes way back.
Yeah.
Founded in 1547 as a restaurant or an inn, centuries before the Demetz family. Can you imagine taking over something that's already got like 400 years of history?
It's incredible, a huge legacy to step into. And we have this brochure from 1918. It gives us a real flavor of it back then. It calls the Gasthof Goldner Engel a lively stopover.
Yeah.
For FT tourists, which we think probably means, foreign travelers or maybe people doing a finishing tour. And it was in a quiet location, apparently just 2 minutes from the Postplatz. So it gives you this little snapshot. It was a place for pensionists, sort of long-stay guests, to leave feeling strengthened. And you get a real feel for the time with the prices they list. Quoted in Cronin, pension was K5 to K7, and rooms started from K1.20. It's a neat little detail.
Wow, K1.20. Different times. And there's that brilliant little story about the actual purchase in 1913. It sounds like something from a movie. The sources mentioned this guy, Vincent, who was patron, and apparently his wife just loved the place so much, she basically told him, "You have to buy it." And that whole emotional connection sort of paved the way for Martin Demetz to buy it on April 28th, 1913. It just shows how that kind of personal feeling, that connection, can be right at the start of something really lasting. So that's the foundation of Slade's, but the real challenge is keeping it going through all the changes, right? How did they handle the mid-century, passing it to the second generation, keeping that initial energy alive?
Well, it's fascinating to see the visual evolution through the marketing stuff we have. You look at the materials from the 50s, the 70s, 89, 93, the look, the branding, it definitely changes, it adapts. But somehow, it still feels like the Angelo Hotel Engel. There's this core identity that sticks. And that photo from 1972, it's great. Martin Demetz Jr. himself right there. He's serving beer at the Wirthaus zum Engel. It really shows that hands-on family connection, that direct involvement seems, pretty crucial in these kinds of long-running family businesses.
Yeah, that hands-on thing really comes across. And speaking of family threads running through everything, sometimes it's the small details that say a lot. I saw something about a clock
in
the reception area.
Oh, that clock. Yes, it's a lovely little piece of the story. It was actually built back in 1919 by Siegfried Demetz, who was an uncle. He built it for his brother Martin, the founder. And then years later, in 1947, they placed it right there in the hotel reception. So it's not just telling time, is it? It's like a physical piece of family history, family skill, right there for everyone to see. That's a perfect example of how their own craftsmanship just became part of the hotel's atmosphere.
That's a really strong symbol of being rooted, isn't it? Hey, let's jump forward quite a bit to a really pivotal moment more recently, the big renovations in 2004. The sources call it Three Brothers Joined Forces. And this wasn't just a refurbishment, was it? This was major.
Oh, absolutely major. If you think about the bigger picture, this was a huge, bold move towards modernization. You had Oswald and Mikkel Demetz leading it. And their brothers, Hugo and Hans-Peter, brought to the architectural know-how, and they demolished, get this, 90% of the existing building. 90%. It was less a renovation, more a rebirth almost. They added a whole new facade, a pool, garage, new rooms, all finished by 2005. It was clearly a strategic decision to bring it right up to date for, the 21st century guest.
Wow, 90%. That raises a huge question, doesn't it? How do you basically tear down almost everything, rebuild it, and not lose the essence, the history, the soul of the place? Was it just about staying competitive? Or was it something deeper about how they saw the future? I mean, what does that kind of drastic change tell us about what they thought was really important to preserve, even when the bricks changed?
It's a great point. And I think The sources hint that they understood what makes a guest experience. Maybe the soul isn't just the old stones, right? Maybe it's the welcome, the service, that feeling of hospitality. By tearing down so much and rebuilding, maybe they were saying, okay, guest needs have changed. Perhaps the old layout just didn't work anymore, or things like a pool became essential. And there's that photo again, Oswald Demetz with his son, Nils Demetz, on the building site. It kind of symbolizes that generational confidence, doesn't it? Like, we can carry the Demetz spirit forward in this new structure.
That's a really interesting way to think about it, distinguishing the tangible building from the intangible spirit. And looking bigger picture again, it wasn't just about the Angelo Engel, was it? The Demetz family's hospitality efforts grew. The sources mention other places: Hotel M. Sittenbeck, Villa Kastelruth, Griesbrohof Prien, Villa Angelino. So they were expanding their reach, diversifying within hospitality.
Exactly. It shows broader ambition. And that overall theme, 110 years of Demetz hospitality. There's a timeline image, 1913 to 2023, that sums it up nicely. The message on it is key. Many things have changed, but some will always stay the same. Which brings us back to that question, what is the enduring legacy? It seems it's not just about the buildings, but those core values, that commitment, and how you pass that down. You see Nils Demetz, the fourth generation, on the 2018 timeline. Still involved, carrying that torch forward. That direct family presence seems to be one of those constants.
So wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for you listening? This dive into the Demetz family and the Angelo Engel, 110 years.
Yeah.
It's more than just a business history. It really is a story about adapting, about being resilient, and about the power of having a clear family vision. We've seen how they managed to respect their past while being, frankly, quite bold about change. Going from that original inn to a modern hospitality group, but keeping something essential alive.
Yeah, I think the key lesson here is that lasting success often comes from this mix. On one hand, you've got this unwavering dedication to something fundamental like the promise of hospitality. But on the other hand, you need the guts to change, sometimes drastically, everything else around that core. So maybe the question for you to think about is, in anything you're involved in, long-term business, family, even just your own path, what are the real constants? What absolutely has to stay the same? And then, crucially, how do you figure out what those are and find the courage to innovate and adapt everything else when the world inevitably changes around you?